building a company culture from wherever. And so my name is Roy Edwards. I'm with Capital Presence, and today we're gonna dive into this topic that many of us have had to deal with over the last couple of years, and now we are starting to see new information, new updates from governments, from cities, from states, from leaders, from organizations. And I thought, what better at a time to go over building a company culture from anywhere, which here at Capital Presence, we talk about work wherever. That's our hashtag, and that's our belief that an organization should be able to do business from anywhere there's internet. And so that's what we're going to dive into today. And really, I'm going to give you three keys, three things to keep an eye on when building a company culture from anywhere, and how you can use these tips and establish them and put them into work today. So that's what we'll get into here. So first, the key takeaway from the last couple of years is that digital transformation is not only a trend, but the train has left the station as far as this is concerned. It's not going back. There is no return to normal. There's no return to the way things were. Digital transformation is something that is urgent. It's more urgent than ever. That's not just a scare tactic. That is the truth. And if you are not a part of the digital transformation, then you are in trouble. In fact, 80% of business leaders across all industries, not just some industries, not just engineering industries, not just medical fields or thought leader industries, this is across all industries, intend to accelerate digital transformation going forward. In fact, the numbers suggest that upwards to 90% of all industries will be remote permanently over the next 5 to 10 years. That's a real thing and a real trend that's going forward, is that the amount of remote work that's going to increase and the size of the landscape of your organization is to improve in geographically over the next 5 to 10 years. This is a real thing that you need to be planning for. And so how can you do this, right? Well, there's already been a few different things that we've seen in terms of digital transformation over the last couple of years. There's some listed here below. We have contactless shopping, we have remote selling, curbside pickup, virtual events, which I don't know if you've ever been to a virtual event, but virtual events are not my favorite thing to do. Webinars are not my favorite, but it is something that has transformed over the last couple of years as we have met online more. We've Zoom and Microsoft Teams meetings have become more and more of a norm. Meeting in person, while still important, has taken a back seat to virtual, which I can meet anyone in the world at the click of a button. And that is the real power behind this digital transformation, is the amount of access we have to goods, services, and people at the click of a button. Some other things here, we have remote learning, telemedicine. You can now meet with your doctors and have access to them quicker without having to take leave or extended leave to go to an office. Remote teamwork. We have teams that are getting larger, spanning across larger geographical maps, sometimes even across the world, not only here in the United States. Remote development, which has been a part of the development platform for pre-pandemic, pre-COVID, but has really accelerated over the last couple of years, more for smaller businesses. But some of these that I would want to highlight are contactless shopping and curbside pickup. These things are not going to go away. In fact, as a father of 4, I really, really hope they don't go away, because getting all of my children out of the car and into a grocery store is not my favorite thing to do. So as long as the curbside pickup stays around, I'm going to be a fan of it. But these are just some ways that we've seen digital transformation over the next couple of years. And so how can we chart course to getting ourselves on the right path to ensuring that we are part of the digital transformation and we don't miss the boat? And so that is the 3 steps that I'm going to go over today. Those 3 steps being respond, recover, and reimagine. Now, the first step there is to respond. And so, we saw countries, we saw cities, we saw states, we saw them lock down to flatten the curve. And that's just one example of ways that we've had to respond to incidents, right? Now, it's not going to be the only thing that we have to respond to over our lifetime, or probably even in the next couple of years, because prior to COVID, there was the recession. And then before that, there were more and more things that we had to respond to. Y2K was a thing, although it never really turned into much. It was something that businesses had to respond to. So we have not seen our last crisis. In fact, you might be responding to crises within your organization on a daily basis through customer complaints, through customer asks, through heat tickets if you're in the development world, in the DevOps world. You always have to respond to whatever this new piece of information is. And so how do you do this in a remote culture? And so first is you need to make sure you have remote everything. And so what I mean by that is you need to have the ability to carry out your standard operating procedures or your processes and checklists. You need to be able to respond to them through a remote environment, through remote capabilities. You need to ensure that no matter where your employees are, that they have the capability to respond to a crisis as it comes in. And that starts with reading your SOPs, your standing operating procedures, and understanding the governance that you have within your organization, and making sure the rest of your employees know what to do and when to do it when a crisis comes in. They need to be able to adapt and respond in real time. We have phones, we have laptops, we have computers, we have smartwatches, we have all kinds of different tools at our discretion to respond in real time. And so we need to lift up our workforce and lift up our employees and give them the capabilities where they can respond in real time, and ensure that we have the proper governance, SOPs, and procedures in place that helps them do their job. These solutions that I'm talking about, these SOPs, these governance, they are there to help people stay productive and to maintain business continuity. So if you don't tell people what to do or what they should be doing in an instance, how are they to respond and how are they to be productive? You need to ensure that your employees know what it is that they are to do in said emergencies and said crisis. That's the only way that they can respond. That is the first R. The second R there is recover. Now, I know that the top level examples here are all around COVID, because that's probably the easiest example that we can all point to over the last couple of years, but I'm going to use recover within the DevOps environment as well, in terms of how to respond to a heat ticket or a customer complaint, or something that comes into your business. But we'll use this example in the slide. So nations, they fought crisis to reopen at different times, but now the lockdowns hopefully are a thing of the past. But this happened at different times, right? We had different states, different counties reopening at different times. We still have some school systems that are open and some schools that are not. And so the ones who are opened now are likely the ones who responded and have gotten into the recovery phase quicker than the others. They are the early adapters, if you will, when it comes into the software points. And so with this, you have that adaptive business model, which they presented new product offerings in a business sense, or new solutions to said problems. Using the COVID example, you saw multiple schools who installed ventilation systems. You saw different ways of scanning your temperature. You saw different ways to combat whatever the crisis was. This doesn't have, again, we don't have to use the COVID example. That's just the easiest one that we all understand. Another easy one here is around the customer complaint. And so a customer complaint comes in, and you can recover from this to understand what needs to be done. What is the proper process of reaching out to the clients? How do we go about the process internally to log the ticket, to put it into any sort of CRM, to make sure that we put a solution in place? And those solutions should be focused on value to the customer and to reduce costs internally to you, the business. So not only do you want to provide as much value as possible to the end client, but you also want to do it at the best price to you, the business. It does not keep us in business to be doing things at an elevated price. If you are losing money but providing good value, you're not going to be in business very long. Therefore, you're not going to be able to provide good value to your end client for the long term. So it's equally important that you do these things and recover at a reduced cost so that you can maintain and stay in business and continue to provide value for your end client. The third point there under the recovery is to restart customer demand. So you want to ensure that your customer still needs you. Whatever your solution is in the remote environment, you need to make sure that you can reposition yourselves within their business model, if that's the way that you function, or to reposition yourselves in their purchasing activity, or to reposition yourselves into the way that they function. That could be a person who is buying vitamins, and maybe they bought vitamins, they had a problem with the vitamins, so you need to respond to this problem. You need to recover. Maybe you present them with a discount and for their next purchase and ship them out a new vitamin package, and you say, hey, sorry about that. Here you go. Here's a coupon for a free hat or something like that, right? That is restarting the customer demand to say, you know what? I actually like these guys. They're great. They not only do they fill my order, but I'm going to go and continue to make them a part of the way that I do things and position myself. That is just one example, right? Insert your business example, however said fit. The third step there, which is really the part of the entire point of the podcast that we have, the Innovari podcast, which the Innovari stands for innovation, and Reimagine is just another way to say innovation. So to reimagine, now this mentions vaccines, treatments become available in the future, there were different ways that we can combat the COVID crisis, or open businesses, or you name it, right? There are different ways that we can reimagine and innovate around the COVID crisis. But I'm going to, again, focus this in on the DevOps environment, which is development and operations, for those of you that are new here. And so the innovation and the way that you can innovate and include this into a work wherever is that your team should meet regularly to discuss how you can improve and how you can do things better. And now, in the remote world, this includes video calls. So turn your video on. And we meet bi-weekly. So the way that we do it is every 2 weeks we have something that we call retrospective, where we go over what we did right, what we did wrong, and what we can do better, and what we're going to do differently. This is how we reimagine the value as seen in the recover stage. This is how we reevaluate the value that we're providing to the clients and customers, and reevaluate how we're doing things internally, if we're communicating effectively, if we are logging the tickets properly. We need to realize new opportunities and scenarios before they happen, because we don't want to be caught, so to speak, with our pants down. We want to make sure that we're ready for anything, and if we're not ready for whatever came in, then we need to make sure that we're ready for it the next time by responding, recovering, and reimagining ways that we can do and respond to said crisis. All of this with a focus on growth, because that's the real purpose of innovation and reimagining things, is you need to grow. You need to make sure that your business is continuing to do and push forward into the innovative landscape, and you need to make sure that you are doing things that make the most sense for your business and keeping your business in business. And so thriving in the face of change requires resilience. And through this agile methodology, or DevOps philosophy that I have laid out throughout today's live stream, it requires resilience. The understanding that you are never done and things are never complete, that there's always a better way to get something done. And it's through that understanding that you are going to recover, respond, and reimagine the way that you can do business, because there always is going to be another crisis. There always is going to be something else to respond to. There's always going to be something else to recover from. And there's always going to be a better way of doing things. And the sooner you realize this as an organization, the better. So prepare now, put your processes in place, understand the pipelines of how your teams are to respond, and then meet regularly to talk about ways that you can reimagine things and do them better. And that's how you're going to increase your culture. That's how you're going to be able to enable teamwork from anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're sitting at a cubicle downtown somewhere, or if you're at home at the comfort of a desk as I am. We know that President Biden has come out recently and said that he encourages everyone to go back to the office, and I am here to tell you that that is a terrible idea. There's no reason for you to go back to the office unless you want to. That's a different story. But I would tell you that productivity is actually higher when your employees are at home. You can get more accomplished, you can communicate more effectively, and your employees will be happier for it. So thanks for listening, guys. We do have a podcast dropping tomorrow on this same topic, so be on the lookout for that. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, please like and leave a comment on our Facebook pages. If you're on my LinkedIn, hit me up with a thumbs up or a comment or something like that, and let's connect. But guys, thanks for checking us out. Until next time, see you.